Hi, I'm Dr. Hector with Trinity Hearing Healthcare in Dallas, Garland, and McKinney, Texas. Just wanted to give you a few helpful hints on how to clean your hearing aids. Even if they've had hearing aids just for a month or two and they wonder why they're not hearing as well, they wonder why the hearing aids aren't working, and the most common problem is cleaning. So using a toothbrush is kind of a trick of the trade, or what I've been using for 22 years. They'll give I'm going to talk about Signia hearing aids today, and there's two types of Signia hearing aids. The first one is going to use a click dome, and that's the dome that has a little plastic ring on the inside, and when you push it onto the receiver, this little speaker, you have to really feel it click in there. But the first thing is all the sound comes out of this little tiny hole here. So when accumulation of wax or different oils in your ears start to build up, then it stops the hearing aid from giving you the sound that was prescribed to you. The first thing you do is you use a toothbrush right on the end part, and you brush on top of that little hole there until you, maybe for 20 seconds or so, until you get it really clean. If your hearing aid starts working again, then you've solved your problem. If it's still not working, then you can remove this dome, which you have to get your fingernail underneath that little plastic ring, and you just kind of pop it off. And then in here you'll see there's a little filter, a white piece there. So that filter you have to get in with your toothbrush and brush in there. And then if you hear it start to squeal again and you hold it in your hand, then you know it's working. If you've been supplied filters by your audiologist, then you want to take a new filter out, and there's a new one right here on the end, and on this side is the removal tool. So you're going to put that inside and screw it in until you get a grip on it and it pulls it out. And before you put the new one on, which is on the other side, you want to get in there with your toothbrush and brush again. You're just trying to clear out any debris or any kind of residual wax you might have in there. And then you want to put the new one right in that hole until it clears it and it's nice and flush. Give it another little brush, and then you put your dome back on. But before you put your dome back on, you might want to hold it up to the light and make sure you can see through those holes in there. If you see any kind of darkness or debris, then you'll want to get a new dome before you put it back on. And once you put that back on, your hearing aid's nice and fresh, it's clean. And the one last thing you can clean is on the top of the hearing aid, there's going to be these two little holes here on the side, and on the top there's these little gradients there that you can brush through. So you want to kind of brush on the top of there, because for women that have hairspray, or if men that use gel or something, it can slowly kind of build up a film there. So you're going to brush that off and put the brush through this side and through this side of the top, and then your hearing aid should be nice and brand new and starting to work again. The other type of Signia hearing aid, if you have a newer style, this is called the AX models. They're going to have a different type of speaker on here, and this is where all the sound comes out. This one does not have a click dome, but the same procedure. The first thing you want to do is brush on the outside and see if it comes back on. This one is just a pull, it's a friction, it's a little rubber kind of seal. So you take that off and you want to brush on the inside. This one has a different type of filter, so you want to make sure that the filters you have, if you're buying them online, you can't just buy one filter and it works for all hearing aids. Every model of hearing aid is going to have its own particular type of filter. This one is just a push. You don't screw it in, you just push it in and it pops out. And then you flip it over, and again, before you put the new one on, you brush on the inside to make sure any kind of residue that passed through there got clean. And you put the new one on, and that one just is a push and pull. You just push it in and take it out. Now with these, the darker tips, it's harder to see through because they have a little tiny lip on the top. So you want to just you can rub it through your fingers, you can rub it on a napkin, and then you'll get some of that residue out of those holes. And then you place that right on top. And then the same thing with the holes here on the side. You want to make sure you push through those holes on the top, because those are your microphones. This is where sound is being picked up from these microphones, running through the computer and coming back out with your prescription. So one thing is the sound's not coming out, but the other thing is it picking up all the sound it's supposed to. And that's where you can brush on the top of these little microphones to make sure any kind of residue was removed. And these are just the Signia type of hearing aids. Just a quick tip on how to keep your hearing aids working, whether they're 10 years old or they're 1 month old. This is something that everybody's going to have to do. If you don't produce a lot of wax, or if you don't produce a lot of heat in your ear and you're in air conditioning most of the time, then you probably don't run into this problem as often. But if you're outside a lot, or if you're working outside, you're probably going to have to do this more often. But I always recommend to all my patients, every day before you put your hearing aids away, either at night, brush them every day so that it doesn't accumulate on there, or you can wait until the morning when the wax is dried. Sometimes it's easier to get it out in the morning. But just make a regular, everyday kind of daily cleaning routine, and have a toothbrush right by your hearing aids and brush that off every day. I'm Dr. Hector with Trinity Hearing Healthcare. If you have any questions, you can always email us at drkypuros@trinityhearing.com. Thank you.